Welcome everybody to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant presentation. And this is going to be about 60 minutes long and will give you some tools to really start digging into your own natal chart and learn more about astrology. The Sun, the Moon, and the Ascendant are considered the most important jumping off points to reading a natal chart and really understanding yourself. So yeah, let's get into it. All right, so my name's Johanna. I am an astrologer and a hula hoop maker here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I've been studying astrology since I was about 10 years old, and I have been professionally practicing astrology for 3 years. So the title of this presentation is called The Sun, the Moon, and Ascendant, the Keys to Unlocking Your Essential Self. Discover your true astrological personality by synthesizing these 3 vital elements. And if you are interested in astrology, if you've read some books, if you have experienced astrology or just sort of have heard about it and want to learn more, this is definitely the right place for you. And there's my cat. And we'll continue. So where to start? If you are here, find a quiet place, grab some headphones, turn off your phone notifications. It's really great to set aside an hour of your time to really study this. And originally this was a 40-minute presentation, but since you have decided to generously purchase this product, I'm going to add a little bit extra, some free gifts at the end, and really just try to give you as much as possible. So if you want to dedicate some time to really studying this aspect of astrology, definitely find a quiet space, or grab some headphones if you are have lots of things going on. Oh my gosh, this cat. And turn off your phone notifications. So what you'll understand by the end of this is how to understand your personality traits using astrological significations of your sun, moon, and ascendant, or also called your rising sign, and what that really means for you in a practical, useful way. My own personal experience and philosophy with astrology is that if it's not useful and if it's not practical and if there's not a way for you to actually implement it in your own life to create more understanding and more empowerment, then what's the point? So that's my personal philosophy, and I hope that's what you can get out of this by the end of it. So you are in the right place if you love astrology, if you want to dig deeper into this magical and powerful study. So I'm assuming majority of you who are in this presentation or who are watching this have already a little bit of knowledge about astrology. You may have done your natal chart. If you were tuning in for the live presentation and you had registered, I would have sent you a copy of your natal chart so you can follow along. So I recommend grabbing that. If you don't have a copy of your natal chart, then you can email me, you can comment in our Facebook group, and my email is pisceshana@gmail.com, and my website is www.astrolicious.com. And you can sign up for my email list and then get your free chart. So if you don't have it, that's what you should do before you watch this video, so you can get a copy of that, because having your chart in front of you is really going to be helpful in understanding this. So if you are interested in astrology and you have your chart already and you know a little bit about your sun, your moon, and your ascendant, but you don't really understand how they all fit together. So most people know what their sun is, right? Because that's what we consider your sign in our popular culture. We're talking about your sun sign, but some people don't actually know their moon sign or their ascendant, and how they all really synthesize to create this more complex indication of what your personality is. Because as we know in astrology, it's more than just this fun thing that you do. It's very complicated. So I'm going to try to help you get to synthesize these 3 vital elements and give you more understanding. So you'll be able to learn that by the end of this. And if you don't have any idea about astrology, but you're really curious, that's okay too. That's great. I'm really excited to help people learn more about astrology from the very beginning, like they've heard about it, or it's just kind of been in the peripherals or the background of their life, and they want to know more. So if you're at that level, great, you're going to be able to learn a lot more. You're really going to get a lot out of this. And I'm not going to try to go into like this crazy metaphysical, philosophical explanation of each sun, moon, and ascendant. So don't worry. If it's a little bit kind of high level, then definitely contact me and I can sort of walk you through it a little bit more. So if you're also ready to start your journey to self-discovery, this is the best way to do it. And the sun, the moon, and the ascendant are vital. They're so important in understanding how astrology really can enhance your life and how you can just know more and understand more about what's going on inside you, how your emotions are playing with your physical appearance and how all of that is going. So great. We're all going to learn all these things together, and it's going to be awesome. So why is this topic essential? And like I said before, it's more than just fun. Astrology is, yes, it's fun. It's awesome. A lot of people get into it because it is fun and like having a great conversation starter about what your sign is and just, laughing about the, personality traits, stereotypes, stuff like that. But astrology is more than just fun. It is an extremely valuable tool. And as I've discovered as an astrologer, it's helped me understand parts about myself that just didn't make any sense. I just had no idea why I was reacting in a certain way, or if I was in the same situation as somebody else, how my perspective was so much different than theirs. So this tool to understanding yourself is extremely valuable. It gives you a window into the depths of your soul in a way that no other study can really help you. So you are accessing an ancient study and mystical tradition. Astrology goes back before the dawn of what we consider modern civilization. It has roots all the way back to ancient Mesopotamia, and it came up through the Greek and Egyptian cultures, where astrologers were considered to be these incredible, highly valued members of the royal group and the advisors to the kings, the ancient kings of Greece and Egypt and Mesopotamia. And they were really relied upon to give the kings guidance, to help them make decisions, to pick certain days of the week and the month and the seasons to help them make the most logical or favorable pathway to what they wanted to accomplish. So you are really tapping into that. So when you're studying astrology, it's not just this, superficial thing. This is something that has been around for generations, and the study and the traditions and the techniques that we are talking about during this presentation have been used for generations. And it is a mystical tradition. So when you're talking about yourself, when you're synthesizing your sun, your moon, and your ascendant, you're being able to really understand, sorry, the cat, you're really understanding yourself on a deeper spiritual level. So you're also discovering your true personality and uncovering the layers of what makes you you. And as we know, personality is complicated. You're not just, at this surface level. There are many different layers to what makes your personality you. And astrology is just another way of describing that. And it's this mystical language that you get to use to synthesize your personality. So let's get into it. Locating your sun, your moon, and your ascendant. So everybody grab your chart, and this is what it's going to look like here on the right side of the screen. So more or less, you're going to be looking at these different symbols. So every single symbol on the very outside of your natal chart are the astrological signs, the signs of the zodiac, is what we understand, when you say you're an Aries or you're Pisces or Sagittarius or whatever your sun sign is. These are the symbols and where the planets are all located in your natal chart. On the inside of here, we're going to look at the actual planetary glyphs. So each one of these little symbols here is representative of a planet in your chart. Now, we're not going to be going into all of the symbols. We're just going to be focusing on sun, moon, and ascendant. So here on the left, you'll see that this sun, the symbol with a dot in the middle and a circle around it, is representative of the sun in your chart. So you just go ahead and you find that in your chart, even though you probably already know what your sun sign is. It'll be showing up like this in your chart. So that is your sun. So go ahead and locate that. And then we'll move on to the moon. The moon is pretty self-explanatory as far as the symbol. The glyph looks like a crescent moon, and you'll be finding it right here. And I think this is actually Kylie Jenner's chart. So if you guys are interested in the Kardashians, then you can look it up and analyze it. But the last thing we're going to be locating is the ascendant. And that's going to be a little more complicated because a lot of charts don't actually show that somewhere as a glyph. There's no actual symbol. It's this AC that will be either in a column. If I sent you a chart, it'll be on a column on the right side of the screen or the page. But what it's really indicating in your chart is this line here on the eastern, technically not east on the picture, but in astrology, this line here on the left side of the chart is the ascendant, and that signifies the eastern horizon and what sign was rising on the eastern horizon. So once you've located all those different places, you can look and see where they are. What sign is each one of these in? And that again is this outer ring. Those are all the astrological signs. And if you have the chart that I sent you, then you will be able to locate on the second, there's a little tab on the right side of the chart that will show you all the different glyphs and the associated signs that go with them. So you'll know which one you're in. So what is the ascendant? Let's start here. The most important and most mysterious for most people who don't really haven't dug deep into astrology, that they're like, what the heck is it? What is it? An actual thing? Is it an actual body or a planet or a celestial place in the sky? And what does it really mean to me? Why is it so important? So the ascendant is the zodiac sign that was coming up on the eastern horizon, like I said before in the previous slide, that was coming up on the eastern horizon at the time of your birth. So we all know that the sun doesn't actually rise, right? We're moving around the sun, and the earth is moving on its axis as well. So those two combinations create the illusion of the sun coming up in the sky on the eastern horizon. And just like the sun, the moon also comes up on the eastern horizon. And as we're turning, the stars are rising. So when it's easiest to explain when you think about when the sun sets and you can see the moon coming up and you can see the stars coming up in the eastern horizon. So if you go outside as the sun is setting and the moon is coming up, oh my gosh, cat. And you will see these constellations, just like in the picture here, and the stars coming up over the horizon. And that is sort of indicative of what constellation is rising and what sign is going to be coming up on that horizon, the eastern horizon, at the time of your birth. Of course, if you were born during the day, you're not going to actually see the stars because it's daylight, but there is still a constellation coming up. There is still a sign on the horizon, and that is considered what your ascendant is. So let's go to the sun, right? We're going to start there. We'll talk more about the ascendant as the third part of this presentation, but the sun, everything starts with the sun. We all understand astrology first through our sun sign, and it is very much a part of our identity. That sun is going to be your core values, how it creates your decision making, your essential truth, your deepest yes. What feels right to you? What is your intuition and your innate drive towards what you want to do in life? That is what your sun sign represents. So if you're going to think about that as far as how that really pulls into your vital sense of identity, you're going to think about, yes, those are things that I relate to. And if you make a decision based on, your sun sign, based on someone else's experience, the same situation, that is going to sort of tell you deep down, you're tapping into what is going to make me make this decision. What feels right to me? So that is representative of what your sun sign is. So if your sun sign is in a specific, like Pisces, or if your sun sign is in Aquarius, you're going to make a decision based on what the personality characteristics of that specific sign are. Or you're going to feel deep down in your core sense of being just like the elements in the description of that sign. It's also where you shine. The sun, astrology is very literal sometimes. You think about the sun and what it represents in our life and in our solar system. It gives us life, that warmth, that radiation, that light that's shining on our planet is really representative of how it shows up in your own body and in your own self as well. So what is making you shine? Where is your heart in this situation? I mean, we all experience different things and we all make decisions, and we have a very deep understanding of what feels good to us. This may not be as present in some people as others, depending on where your sun is and how it interacts with all the other planets in your chart. But deep down, we all have this core sense of what makes us feel good, where we really want to shine, where we want to go in our life that gives us life. Like that's your vitality. It's what lights you up and makes you happy. So the whatever sign your sun is in, that description of the zodiac is going to be showing up in your personal identity that way, and what makes you really happy. It's also your soul purpose, what your inner voice is telling you to do. And it's the destiny that you're trying to fulfill. And why are we all here on earth? Astrology gives us meaning in this way. It tells us if your sun sign is in Aries, then you are here to be extremely vigorous and to go out and experience things like in a childlike and very passionate way. So the destiny you're trying to fulfill is going to be portrayed through whatever sign your sun is in. For the moon, the moon is a reflection of the sun, right? Because the moon does not have its own source of light. When we think about the moon in our sky, we're looking at, this beautiful, the full moon is this beautiful glowing thing, and it seems like it has its own light, but really it's just reflecting the light of the sun. And in that same way, it's showing up symbolically in your own personality as a reflection of the sun. It's your essential wants. It's your desires and your needs. What really do you want to feel in your actual bones? What feels the sun is how you feel good, and what makes you feel driven and full of life. But the moon is a more subtle version of that. It's taking the sun's hopes, desires, wants, needs, and filtering it through your body, your actual physical self, because the moon is the closest thing to us in the solar system. So we have this very personal physical relationship with the moon, and a lot of people have talked about how the moon affects the tides and how the moon affects the polarities and the different levels of the water here on Earth and in our own bodies. So it's very similar in astrology and how that shows up in our body. How does the sun's wants and needs and desires show up personally in our body? How is this all translated? It's like your soul's filter. So for some of us who don't necessarily relate to our sun sign, or have a hard time really finding what drives us and what is our pure wants and needs, the moon gives us an opportunity to look at that and how it shows up. So if you're curious about how your sun really wants to be portrayed in your life and in your body, then that's how you can look at it, through your moon. How does your moon respond to your sun? How does your moon really show up as getting nurtured through your sun's desire in your body? So I like to think of it as like a filter, because the moon is so close to us that we have a very personal relationship with it. The sun is, sort of more like this energy that fills us, but sometimes we have a difficulty trying to bring that energy out, or how is energy expressed. So the moon is the key to learning that. Excuse me. It's also considered to be the ruler of your emotions. It's your life's antenna. I like to think of the moon and how it shows up in our lives in astrology as your like little feelers on top of your head. You're like a butterfly, right? or a bee, or whatever insect you want to think of yourself as, where you're, that's how your sense of touch, your sense of experience in this life, your reactions. So when you're presented with the situation and this person next to you has a totally different moon sign, you both react totally different. I mean, you may be experiencing the same thing, but how are you really feeling that? And how is it coming through your body? How are you responding to that? It's like this radar that we all have out there. How are we receiving everything that's coming at us? And how is it making us feel? And how are we reacting to that? So it's also what makes you feel comfortable. And we're humans, right? We're all trying to search for this element of comfort, an element of stasis that makes us able to function normally. So it's what makes us comfortable, how our moon shows up, and what nurtures us. The moon is also representative of mother in our charts. So we think about what our mothers did to nurture us, and that moon is kind of representative of your mother and how you want to feel like a child and you want to feel nurtured. So whatever sign your moon is in, I mean, it could be something totally different than what we, consider traditionally as a mother. Because if you have a moon in Aries, like I do, then you're going to be nurtured or feel nurtured in a very like explosive, expressive way. So it's not necessarily you have to curl up in a ball and, under a blanket and be nurtured that way. A lot of people are nurtured by many different things. And many of them are like sports, or many of them feel nurtured when they cook or when they go running or something like that. So when you look at the description of your zodiac sign that your moon is in, you're going to be looking at that description as how you feel nurtured and how you feel comfortable. So the moon also represents your health, your physical health and your body. Whereas the sun is what gives you energy and what creates your vitality. The moon is the earthly, the cosmic energy that you're feeling and how that is showing up and how healthy your body is feeling and what gives you that sense of health and your cosmic energy. So the ascendant is, I'm going to be sending out these slides to you guys too, so you have everything. You don't need to, I'm sorry, like this is blocking, so you can't see part of it. So we're back to the ascendant, right? So the ascendant, sun, moon are kind of self-explanatory. The moon, the sun is your vitality. The moon is your emotions. The ascendant is a little more complicated just because it isn't an actual thing in the sky. It's just a place. It's kind of the blueprint. It's the most important thing because it changes the most throughout everybody's birth chart. So if you were born an hour earlier or an hour later than you actually were, or what says on your birth certificate, then your ascendant would be totally different. So the moon moves very quickly through the sky as well, but the ascendant is very, very dependent on when you were born and where you were born. So that's why it's really essential when you're talking about astrology and getting your information correct, because we want to be as accurate as possible when it comes to finding your ascendant or your rising sign. So the ascendant is the sign on the horizon. It was coming up in the east. And that is really kind of like how you see the world. I mean, that's what was coming up. That was kind of like where you entered into this world at that point, that specific location. That's how you see the world. You came out and you were like, all right, this is how I see it. And this is my perspective. And it was, I like to think of it as like you're climbing up a diving board at like a public pool up to the top, like the high dive, right? Climb, 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 climb. You're all the way to the very top and you walk out to the edge of that diving board and you see everything. It's this bird's eye view of your life and how you are going to be interpreting things and experiencing things. And it really is your perspective. How are you gonna go through life? It's also considered your soul's steering wheel. A lot of people in the ancient times considered the ascendant like the rudder or the prow of the ship that you were going through life with. Like, this is your vehicle. We don't have, we don't ride on ships the way we used to as our main transportation, but if you live by the ocean, you might, but for the majority of us, we all have cars, or you have some type of public transportation. That is kind of what your ascendant is. It is your modus of operandi. It is your vehicle that you get when you go into life. I talked about like how, I don't know, I may like age myself here, but when you were a kid, you played the game MASH and you wrote down 4 different vehicles, and depending on whatever it landed on, you would get stuck with that vehicle in your life. Another way to describe the ascendant is like, sometimes you get stuck with your a Mercedes or a limo or a Ferrari, or sometimes you get stuck with the minivan. So that's very important on how you experience your life, right? Looking through the window of a Mercedes and looking through a minivan are totally different, right? You're going to be given this physical vehicle to go drive you in the direction of your life. So you have your sun, right, which is your essence and your vitality, and it's translated through your moon and how you experience life and how you feel and react to it. And both of those things are inside this package. They're inside this this vehicle that is taking you through life. So it's very important. It's going to help you just choose which path you're going to go down. It's going to help you overcome hurdles. It's going to help you choose which directions. How do you carry out your decisions? What are your skills and the talents and the abilities that you were given by your ascendant to help you move forward? These are very it's kind of like the front lines of our life. It's what our outside appearance and our, like, the skin of our body. That's the ascendant. It's what is going to be experiencing things face to face, versus the sun and the moon, which are very much more internal things about our personalities. The ascendant is the external part. So, it's your, like I said, it's your outer character. So we all talk about the inner characters. Sun and moon are inner characters. The ascendant is your outer character. What people see when they look at you. A lot of people think, oh, I'm a Pisces, I must look like a Pisces, right? If you think about the character descriptions that talk about Pisces, no, actually, whatever your ascendant is what you actually physically look like more. So, if you have a Taurus rising or a Taurus ascendant, you're going to show the physical attributes of a Taurus. You're going to be a lot more sturdy looking, a lot more, earthy and comfort seeking and languishing, maybe that's the wrong word, but relaxed type of appearance, versus Pisces, which is, more like fishy, right? So what people look at when they see you, or what they see when they look at you, is what your ascendant is. It's your physical appearance and your packaging, right? Your skin, what clothes you wear and what makeup you put on. That's the type of ascendant that you are. So we'll move on. I actually had synthesized all of these together. This is kind of the key slide here. So how do you mix all these together so they make sense? So the sun is who you are on the inside. It's your internal heart. It's your heart. And the moon is how you express who you are on the inside. And if we put that all together into one sentence, the ascendant is how you go about expressing who you are on the inside. How does that physically show up and direct you through your life? So that is in a nutshell, all three of these together, and how you can sort of write a sentence about all three of those signs, and how can you put that into a sentence that makes sense to you. It's going to be easier for some people than others, because depending on what your sun, moon, and ascendant is, there may be very few commonalities, or they may all make sense. You may all have the sun, moon, and ascendant all in the same sign. So lucky you, right? You know exactly who you are. So I originally had made this funny looking astrology monster. I guess it was more like a frog. It kind of looked funny, but it had a big heart in the middle, and that was the sun. And then around it was like this shimmery little lightning bolts, and that was the moon, and how the frog was like feeling and radiating its heart. And then the outside was its skin, and that was the ascendant. But then I thought of this, maybe it would be kind of easier to describe, right? So if the ascendant is your packaging, then we have a picture on the left here, which is a present, a box. So that's your ascendant, right? So what happens when your ascendant is this very cute, tidy package, and your sun is a cute little puppy? And so inside that box, out pops this cute little puppy, right? So that's your sun. That's how you are wanting to, feel good. That's how you're this happy-go-lucky, expressive, just love me and hug me type drive, and that's your vitality. That's what really feeds you. But what if your moon is a pissed off cat? What if the cat is like, don't touch me? Your sun is like, love me, but your moon is like, don't touch me. So if you have this kind of conflicting three different types of signs, they don't make sense to each other, then that is an example of how they could all go together. So your sun and your ascendant are great. This is perfect. We see little puppies popping out of boxes on Christmas all the time. Putting a cat in there, totally different story. So what if you're something like this? What if your ascendant is not so cutely packaged and brightly tied up with a bow? It's something that's durable. It's gone through some stuff. You've been through the mail and beat up. What if your ascendant is not all about the bells and whistles and looking good, but it's about function and make sure things are happening correctly and get to your location as quick as possible? You're no nonsense, your ascendant. Well, what if your sun is this gentle flower that needs to be nourished? What if it has something that wants to shine and it needs to have soil, it needs to have sunlight, it needs to have all these different things, and that doesn't necessarily fit into that box of your ascendant so well. And your moon is something like a bunny rabbit, right? You're quiet, you're introverted, your moon really is shy. What if your sun is bright and shiny and wants everyone to see how beautiful it is as a sunflower, but your moon is very shy and you don't um, necessarily feel good about showing everybody your sunflower, right? So that's another thing where you can synthesize two things or you can synthesize nothing, and they all are still in your chart somewhere. And understanding all the differences. How are we going to put them all together? So these are different examples of people who have different signs and how they can all work together, or maybe we'll have some difficulties working together. So if you're like me and you have a sun, moon, and ascendant in 3 totally different signs, they have no commonalities, you're going to be dealing with a situation like this. You have an ascendant. It's a wicker basket. Your sun is a fish that needs water. Your moon is a bird that cannot live in water and it's trying to fly away. Are all these things going to be able to live together comfortably in that box in your ascendant, in your packaging? I don't think so. So that's tough. So some people have these struggles where they're trying to, make sure they all go together. I mean, you have to live with what you're given, right? You have to synthesize what astrology has, your blueprint. We all have a recipe, and how we put all those ingredients together is another thing, and how it comes out in the final product. So if you're one of these people, my heart goes out to you, but here's some tricks and tools on how you can actually work with them. So when you're going to assess the astrological symbolism of your sun, moon, and ascendant, here are some common things you can look for. You can look for elements. All of our signs, all the astrological signs fit into categories of elements. So you're going to have water signs, earth signs, fire signs, and air signs. So you can see maybe your sun, your moon are both in a water sign. And if your ascendant is in an earth sign, then you can synthesize that in a way where 1 or 2 of them, or 2 or 3 of them, are talking together. They understand each other. They're going to function in a similar way. And that's how they're going to be able to come together. So you can also look at, besides elements, if you don't have any planets in the same element, it's fine, but you can also look at their modality. The modality is either fixed, you can look at mutable or cardinal. Those are the 3 modalities. Then you can look at the planets that are ruling each other. So all of these things may have similarities, and that's how you can understand how maybe your sun and your moon talk together, but your ascendant isn't working so great. Or maybe your ascendant and your sun really shine and they work together really awesome. So people are going to see that in you. They're going to see that, wow, you know what your vitality is. Like, it's going to shine. It's going to come right through, and people are going to experience that. But they may not get to know you on a personal level because your moon is more hidden, or it doesn't talk together as much. So look for those similarities. If you have trouble figuring these things out, I can help, definitely. You can have a professional astrologer look at your chart and tell you how to synthesize these things. Or you can always Google it. You can buy any type of astrology book out there and it will tell you about the modalities, the elements, and your ruling planets. So, but know this, if you don't have anything that seems to work together, know that your uniqueness is your power. If you have nothing in common, you're going to synthesize your sun, moon, and ascendant in a totally dynamic, original, and unexpected way. You're going to wow people. People are going to think, oh, I had no idea that you were this incredible mastermind at, engineering when you look so cute and cuddly on the outside. So that's a superpower, is to fool people, to go beyond their expectations. And, whatever your external appearance is, you can totally blow them away with your amazing mental prowess and incredible ambition. So wait, there's more. Remember, your sun, your moon, and your ascendant combo is just the beginning. This, as like I said, is the essential, it's the way to understand your essential self. You also need to go deeper to really dig into how complicated a personality is and how you function in different areas of your life. You look at all these different things. You look at aspects to other planets in your chart. You look at the house location of your sun and moon, planetary condition, house rulerships. A total synthesis and a chart evaluation is the next step in astrological synthesis. So I'm so excited. You've learned about these things. You've synthesized all 3 elements. You can now identify your sun, moon, and ascendant in your chart. You know the keywords for each element. for Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. You've got the tools on how to synthesize and see if the planets talk to each other. And you can understand how to take the synthesis to the next level and discover your astrological profile. And if you want more information, I'm definitely here. I've been doing astrological consultations where I can look at your Sun, Moon, and Ascendant, and only it's not so in depth. It's not this long 60-minute experience. It's only 30 minutes, and you can definitely contact me if you want to have the more explained. If it's not clicking perfectly for you right now, if you want to know more, then that's what I'm here for. So contact me and I can get you an astrological consultation for your Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. And I normally charge $45, but since you did purchase this, I will definitely give you a discount and do it for $40. So yeah, if you you can either email me at Pisces Hana. You can message me on Facebook or Instagram. You can go to our Facebook group, Astrology and Hula Hooping for Health and Empowerment. If you just search for that on Facebook, then I will add you to our group and you can contact me there. So this was from before, so obviously you guys aren't in the chat right now, but yeah, I'm definitely available and I would love to help you understand astrology more. That's what Astrolicious is all about. We are here to make sure that you can use these tools to better enhance your life, to understand yourself more. If there's some burning question about why can't I function this way, or why doesn't this work for me, then I can help you dig into that more deeply. So thank you for coming. I hope this has been helpful for you. And yeah, you're like a baby astrologer. You can start going and learning more and take the next steps to complete chart synthesis. So happy day, and I hope you guys are well. And yeah, stop sharing. So yeah, have a great day. And if you have any questions, definitely email me, or we'll continue from here. So great. Thanks. Bye.